Hello everyone, welcome back to another stimulus check update. Drop a like on the video, I would really appreciate that. Hopefully you guys are having a great day, and I am running a $50 Amazon gift card giveaway. The winner will be announced on Sunday, and if you guys do want to enter, subscribe and leave a comment down below, and let's go ahead and get into the update.
When you think of payday, you think Friday is payday, but I gotta tell you, the IRS is making Wednesdays the new payday. Wednesday, April 14th, the fourth batch of stimulus payments are expected to go out. This time it is to VA beneficiaries who do not file taxes. The majority of payments will be direct deposited. We'll find out on the 14th how many payments are also being mailed out. Now, this is how the first three batches stack up. The bulk of the payments, of course, going out that very first week with 90 million. And then the bulk of all the payments mostly sent by direct deposit. Debit cards were only sent out in the second week. The checks are the next major form of payment. Now, speaking of which, if you're on Social Security, SSDI or SSI, and you did not get a direct deposit of your stimulus payment on April 7th, you need to check the mailbox. About 1 million stimulus checks were sent by mail. And here's a reminder, you may need to file a 2020 tax return even if you don't usually file. Why? Well, if you didn't get all of or any of stimulus 1 or 2 or maybe 3, the way to get it is by filing a return, and it is absolutely free. In fact, the IRS put out this alert today about the free file options and how it can help you find overlooked tax credits and get a refund. There are all kinds of resources for you.
So a lot of people have gotten their stimulus check. People on SSI and on SSDI did get their check last week, and veterans are supposed to get their check starting today. And I got my check 2 weeks ago, so about 90% of people roughly have gotten their third stimulus check, and still millions of Americans are still struggling. The article does say, while the number of Americans struggling to put food on the table and pay bills fell last month, new data shows that millions are still feeling the financial effects of the pandemic. The third round of stimulus payments started to hit bank accounts on March 12, so it's not surprising that the number of Americans who couldn't cover household expenses in late March fell from 33.8% to 28.9%, according to the latest U.S. Census Bureau data collected March 17 through 29. The number of Americans who sometimes or often do not have enough to eat on a weekly basis also fell from 10.7% to 8.8%, but that still leaves about 18 million adults who are still going hungry, a figure that is much higher than the number of Americans who said they didn't have enough to eat prior to the start of the pandemic in 2019, according to the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. In many cases, Americans are still experiencing financial hardship because households aren't earning the same amount they did before the pandemic started, in part because of unemployment, furloughs, and pay cuts. About 54 million Americans say they aren't using regular income sources such as their paychecks, side hustle earnings, or rental income to help cover their expenses on a weekly basis. About 50 million Americans reported using credit cards or loans to cover their expenses. About 20 million say they borrowed money from family or friends. So people really are hurting still. They really do need to release a fourth stimulus check. And Pramila Jayapal, I believe you pronounced that way, did tweet out and did say people need support that gives them stability. It's time for recurrent survival checks, $2,000 a month every month until the crisis is over. So it's really nice to see that a lot of people in Congress are pushing Biden to include another stimulus check in his next spending bill. Democrats put pressure on Biden for more stimulus checks, while millions of Americans ran into an array of issues in receiving their 3 previous rounds of stimulus checks. Progressive Democrats are reportedly advocating for a 4th round of stimulus money and recurring economic relief payments. President Joe Biden signed the American Rescue Plan on Thursday, March 11, and millions received the third stimulus check the following week, though millions more still haven't received the third checks worth $1,400 per eligible individual. Issues aside, Yahoo reports 75 lawmakers in Congress are pushing for the president to sign into effect stimulus packages and recurring direct payments until the pandemic ends. The 75 lawmakers pushing for recurring direct payments include 56 House Democrats who wrote a letter back in January addressed to President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. We're experiencing the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression, with millions of Americans either unemployed, forced out of the workforce, or facing a deadline in hours and wages. The letter read, worsening systematic inequalities such as food insecurity and housing instability are most severe for Black, Brown, and Indigenous communities who are suffering higher infection and mortality rates of COVID-19 and higher unemployment levels compared to the white Americans. At the same time, many people of color are encountering reduced or stagnant incomes as frontline workers while not being able to access vital relief programs such as unemployment insurance. In late March, the other 21 Democrats are senators who recently wrote another letter to President Biden about the ongoing economic crisis caused by the pandemic and the need of relief for struggling Americans. Biden hasn't yet publicly responded to either letter, though he has reportedly shifted focus from economic relief packages to his $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan, among other issues. Hence the 75 lawmakers banding together and asking the president to include more economic relief for Americans in the bill. So a lot of senators and also representatives do keep pushing Biden to include more stimulus checks in his next stimulus package. Now, I've been going through a lot of articles over the past hour or so, and I've read at least 5 articles, and every single article does say that recurring payments are not likely and are pretty much not going to happen, but another one-time fourth stimulus check is actually likely, probably in a few months, so don't count on that payment coming anytime soon. The articles do say that if they do pass another stimulus check, it will be in October once they can use budget reconciliation again. That's really the only way that they can pass another stimulus check, and the threshold for that would have to be lowered even further from $75,000 for individuals to like $50,000, and then for couples from $150,000 to $100,000. I think those are still good thresholds. Let me know down below how much money for a fourth stimulus check you guys would be happy with. Anything really does help, so even if you do want to make the check less than $1,400, as long as it's not like $600, I think anything above $1,000 I would be happy with. Again, let me know down below in the comment section your opinion. Do you guys think there's going to be another stimulus check? From my research, I think there is. Recurring checks, definitely not, but another one-time payment is coming, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed. Drop a like if you have, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.